Good morning. I thought that I would share my morning routine. I use bulletproof coffee as my breakfast, and it usually gets me through till probably 1:30, 2 o'clock most days without having to eat solid food, which I love. Intermittent fasting does really good for my body. So as part of what I eat in a week, I thought it would be important to share this piece of my morning ritual. So for coffee, I use bulletproof, and I love the Mentalist. I'm a darker roast girl. Usually I used beans and I grind it each morning, but I ordered this as a backup and my beans have not arrived yet, so I'm using ground today. I use bulletproof because I have had allergies most of my life, although you would not know it. And bulletproof is the only coffee that I have found that does not irritate my sinuses, which I am thrilled about because I love my coffee. And the reason that it doesn't bother is because most processing companies for coffee beans put them in storage where they collect dust and dust mites. But bulletproof, small batches, their coffee beans right away, and that has definitely made a difference for me. So bulletproof it is. The other thing that I add to my coffee when I blend it is Lugol's, and I also use bulletproof brain octane D8 as well as butter. And I put all of that in my blender, and it is a beautiful frothy coffee. And the other piece of the morning that I do is my vitamins, and that consists of L-theanine, hyaluronic acid, and that is for my skin. L-theanine, if you're not familiar with it, is a brain food. It is one of the only supplements that can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and I've been taking it for probably 14 years. I absolutely love it, and I would not live without it. Hyaluronic acid, because when you are in menopause, your skin often gets drier, so skin and hair have really benefited from that. And vitamin C. So those are my go-to. Main winters when I don't see the sun as much, I also do vitamin D3. I put these into a cup and then I whisk them. I also take creatine, and recently I had a rotator cuff injury. Fortunately not extremely bad, but bad enough that I needed physical therapy, and I believe that the creatine helped a lot. Now, I didn't do it without the creatine, so would it have recovered quickly? I'm not sure, but I have almost full range of motion. It did take about 6 months, but I do feel like I recovered better and quicker. I also take vitamin K2, the MK4, and I take that morning and night to help with absorption of the fat. And I take magnesium, 2 capsules at night, 2 capsules in the morning. Makes a huge difference. Calming at night to help me sleep. And for fair hair, fair skin people, they are often magnesium deficient, and the way that I learned to test that is if you use your fingernails and you do a scratch on your skin and you are leaving red marks, that is often a sign that you are magnesium deficient. And I got that from an allergist that was treating my daughters when they were younger. And then I also use a zinc, and the zinc helps the sinuses and allergies just to boost my immune system. Okay, well, my coffee is brewing, which you can probably hear in the background, but that's all right. I thought that I would share a little hack, because this channel is really all about making life easier, simpler, happier as we age. And so anything that makes things easier and I can work smarter, I love to embrace. So I found this great little pill bottle, and they just pop in one side and pop out the other side, and it has an AM PM section, and it makes my life super easy. And so that's what I do for my vitamins. And then for the powdered supplements, I found this little caddy, and I put the powder in here, and then they just slide right in their little containers. I don't have to open the envelopes every single day, and that makes my life easier. And then I love this little whisk that I use for blending my supplements. Okay, and here is my coffee goodness. Frothy and amazing, and I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. So I hope that you have a great morning routine that serves your body as well. Okay, I wanted to share my dinner with you this evening. I got home from work a little bit earlier today, so I'm able to eat about 6:15, which is quite early for me. So I've decided to do a cheeseburger with scrambled eggs on the side. You will notice that I eat mostly hamburg, and that is because fish just does not give me enough fat, and I am allergic to seafood, shellfish particularly. So my go-to more often than not is some version of beef. I will definitely eat chicken and pork as well, but my go-to for my daily fat requirement often includes eggs and beef of some type. So I have been loving the hamburgers at Walmart. They come in a 12-pack, and they are 1/3 pound each, and they're so easy to just put in the air fryer. I find that if I make the center 2/3 thinner than the rest of it, I don't get that little shrink puck like hamburger. So that's what I do. I generously salt it. I do all of my burgers 7 minutes at 400 degrees. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and it seems to be a little more browned when I flip it halfway. So I will pause it, which I love about this Ninja air fryer. I can pause it, pull it out, flip it over, add salt to the other side, and put it back in. And then the last minute I pause it again, and I put cheese on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my eggs done and get this cooked, and I will show you the final result. And there we have it, a perfectly cooked medium rare burger and a 3-egg scramble. Okay, today I am sharing my brown butter custard recipe. It has fast become one of my go-tos. Now you'll notice that this pan it's kind of messy, and that's because I just made a batch of butter bites, which I actually use in my coffee and for snacks. So yes, the pan is a little bit butter bite dirty already, but I'm not worried about that. So the way that I make my brown butter custard, which gives a really yummy kind of toffee-ish flavor, is I take about 1/3 of a block of butter and I melt it in until it starts to be a golden brown, just like you would if you were making butter bites, just a little less butter. And if you want to see the full brown butter bite recipe video, you can see that link below in the description. Okay, and you can start to see that it's getting a little golden, and you can see some of that little yummy bits in the bottom. Now normally I would take it off and pour it straight into my molds, but instead what I am doing this time is pouring my milk directly in with it. That is 4 cups of non-pasteurized milk. I like to use the Kerrygold butter, but you can use any kind that you want, and you can start to see a little bit of that yumminess from the butter in there. Now, the reason that I'm warming the milk is because I find that when I put it in my glass jars to cook custard, it mixes and cooks a lot better when the milk is warmed before it is added to the eggs. So while we are letting that warm up, I'll show you the rest of what I have prepped. So like I said, I used 4 cups of non-pasteurized milk. I used 10 eggs, and I have already whisked them up. Some people are concerned about the bubbles. I'm not so much concerned. I don't feel like it makes a huge difference. And I have prepped 7 little mason jars. And the reason I use this size is because 7 of them fit perfectly in the pot that I am going to be cooking it in. Okay, my milk and butter bite mixture is all warmed up. In the meantime, I am boiling some water to do a water bath on my little jars. So now I am just going to pour that mixture of milk into the whipped eggs to make the egg mixture nice and warm. I will mix that up. Now we are going to take it over to the sink and I'm going to run it through a colander. Now, a lot of people do this to get the bubbles out. I really don't do it for that reason. I do a little straining because when I put the warm milk into the egg mixture, sometimes there is a little bit of egg that is left over. Now, I wish that you guys could smell this. Holy moly, it smells so good. So you can see there is a little bit of the egg whites left. Now, you can totally leave that. You could probably even use a blender or a whisk and get it a little bit more mixed. But I just find that it's easy to just run it through the colander. And we are going to put the mixture into these little canning jars and top them, and then we will put them in to bake. Now, I did want to show you, shows a little 10 on the bottom. I think maybe that means it's a number 10 canning jar. I think it's probably 8 ounces if I had to guess. Okay, so now custard is in its jars. Now, earlier I said water bath. It's really not. It's more of a steam cook. So there's plenty of water boiling in the bottom of my stock pot, and then I have them propped up. And the reason I do 7 is for this reason right there. It perfectly fits in my stock pot, and it kind of keeps me honest with 7 days worth of custard. Now, I have found that this size takes a full 25 minutes, so I'm going to set my timer and I will come back. Okay, now my custard, I believe, is done. It's been about 25 minutes, and I've removed one of the little jars, but I did want to show you, it seems like a simple thing, but I found this KitchenAid little set of tongs that's kind of concave, and it is the easiest way that I have found to lift these out. Now, I did want to mention that the best way to tell if it is done is to just use a knife, and if you get a little jiggle, it is perfect. I will just let these cool for a bit on the counter, and then I move them into the refrigerator. I hope you enjoy this recipe. It is one of my absolute favorites lately. Okay, time to make dinner. Tonight I am having a half-pound steak and a 4-egg scramble. Both have been salted generously, and I've got a nice little chunk of butter here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the steak in my air fryer. I cook it on 400, as I have mentioned many times. And for steak, I do it at 8 minutes, and then I will flip it over halfway through and salt the other side. Okay, I am pretty excited. Love the smell of a fresh cooked steak. So that is my meal for tonight. It is a perfectly cooked, browned, got the little crispies around the edges, perfectly cooked, medium rare, 8 minutes. Love it. Okay, it is time for my first meal of the day, and I'm not super hungry. I had lots of fat in my coffee this morning, but want to get something in my stomach. So today for lunch is just a simple 4-egg scramble. Now, when I say scramble, I use that term loosely. I don't put anything in it other than salt, and I just whip it with the fork and put it in the frying pan for a few minutes just to fluff it up. So that is what's for lunch today. Another great meal in the air fryer. I've got 3-egg scramble with 1.5 burgers, Cooked at 400 degrees for 7 minutes. I flip it halfway through and put cheese on the last minute. Absolutely perfect dinner. Hey there. I am sitting out on my porch doing a little chill time this afternoon and have a few things to do around the house, so thought I would have a little custard to give me a little boost for the afternoon. And I wanted to show you how yummy this looks. So on top, you do get a little bit of the browned butter bite bits, and that is my favorite. That seems to settle at the top, which is kind of cool. You get a multi-layered treat. And then, once you get down into it a little bit, it's a little bit more custardy. And oh my goodness, you guys, it is so yummy. I would love to hear from you if you try it and let me know what you think. Okay, it is time for dinner, and I have put a hamburger and a steak, a half-pound steak, in my air fryer for 8 minutes. It's unnecessary probably to flip them over, but I like how it crisps both sides, so I salt both sides, and then I'm going to stop that again at about 1 minute and just put a little cheese on the burger. I cook them both for 8 minutes and they are perfectly done. And there we go. The air fryer with cheese on top even makes the cheese kind of gooey. Love it. Nice crisp medium rare steak. Perfect dinner. Okay, I am at my office today. You have seen the custard that I make, and it has become one of my go-tos on my work days. It is packed with fat, it is filling, and I love the taste of it. I also had an extra pork chop that my husband had for dinner yesterday that I brought in as well. So this is my protein and fat packed lunch for today at work. Another great meal in the air fryer. I've got 3 egg scramble with 1.5 burgers, cooked at 400 degrees for 7 minutes. Okay, it is time for dinner. A hamburger and a steak. I salt both sides, and then about 1 minute and just put a little cheese on the burger. And there we go. Nice crisp medium rare steak. Perfect dinner. Okay, I am so excited to try this new idea and recipe that I have for carnivore lasagna. This is my first attempt, so I'm going to just experiment and we will see if it's a go in the end. If you see it posted in my video, then it was worth a share. Okay, so what I'm doing, I have been doing a lot of 1/3 pound burgers from Walmart. So these are burgers that I have cut in half, and I am pounding them out and putting them in the bottom of a deep dish baking pan. There will be 8 of them. I'm going to do that twice. So I will have 8 burgers that I use, and I cut them in half and pressing them out so that they're the right shape to fit 4 on each side in the pan. And then I also bought some really good ground breakfast sausage, and I have added 3 eggs and a handful of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to mix that up, and I'm going to make individual patties, 8 of them, out of this mixture. So what I will be doing is layering it in. I'm going to do hamburger, and then a layer of cheese, and then the sausage, and a layer of cheese, and then hamburger, and a layer of cheese. And when I eat it, I think that I probably will put a fried egg on top, just for a little extra gooey moisture. I have just used the cheese that I already had in the refrigerator. So I had some Italian mixed cheese, I have Parmesan cheese, and I have a mozzarella block. And that's what I'm going to be using for my cheeses today. Okay, so I have pounded out 4 more burgers into the little sizes that are going to be layered as the 3rd layer. I have put the Italian cheese on the top of the first layer of burger. And I also want to mention, I did take a little dollop of butter and I buttered the pan because things don't usually stick to it, but I wanted to make sure they came out nice and easy. And who doesn't want a little more fat and butter? So the next thing I'm going to do is put a little dollop of the breakfast sausage with the Parmesan and egg on top of each of these. I would put the breakfast sausage on top of it. I just spooned it on and then it very easily spread out. And I found that the 1 pound package was perfect for getting the same layer of thickness as my thin little layer of burger. Now I'm going to take more of the Parmesan cheese and put another layer. Even though I have a little Parmesan cheese in the mixture, like who doesn't want a little more cheese to have a nice little yummy gooiness in between each layer? And I really want to be able to see like a lasagna. I guess it's kind of a visual thing, but don't you just want to see all of the layers when you're eating lasagna? And I'm hoping by separating them out and making little individual servings, they'll be easy for a grab and go, and they will hold their shape a little better. I won't have to worry about cutting them. I'll just store them and grab them when I go. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay out the other burgers on top and top it with the fresh Parmesan cheese. I forgot to mention I am preheating the oven at 400 degrees, and I did generously salt the burger layers, and I love the Redmond's real salt. I don't think that you can get any better salt. Okay, I am so excited about these little guys. I hope they come out as good as they look like they're going to. So I am going to put this in a 400 degree oven, and I'm going to check it at about 40 minutes and we'll see how it's doing. I will let you know at the end, and as it cools, I will show you what it looks like when it comes out, and I will do a quick cut once it's a little cooler, and we will see if we can see the magic of those layers. I did want to mention that I am going to bake it uncovered. I sometimes will put tin foil over my meatloaf and then I'll take it off at the end, but I really want the air to circulate through this a little bit more since they're little individual servings. So we will see how that goes. Okay, these came out so good, but I will say it did take longer than I thought. It was an hour. And at 45 minutes, I turned the heat up to 450 and covered it with tin foil. But I love the slightly different texture and flavor that the middle layer of the breakfast sausage gives. It's so good. And there is a great layering of cheese. I will absolutely be doing this again.